Hello everybody, Appalachian Naturalist here. Welcome to my desk again. I wish I could get rid of the recording thing that's always on my forehead. It's so distracting. Anyway, so to continue with our bird thing, getting ready for the backyard bird watch coming up here next month, I'm going to do a quick video for you guys on what you need, the very basics, to go out in the woods, desert, savanna, tundra, swamp, wetland, marshland, coastline, wherever you are, and participate in this bird watch. Or what you need, bare minimum, to start perhaps an exciting new hobby of birding. So, we'll start out with how you see the birds. As I said, the vast majority of identifying birds in the wild are based off of what you hear. You don't always get to see them, unfortunately. Every now and then you do get to enjoy seeing the birds. So what I use is I use this set of binoculars. It's from Eagle Optics. It is the Shrike. Yep, the Shrike from Eagle Optics. I've used this for a couple of years. It's 8 by 42, and you don't want a pair of binoculars that are too powerful, because you zoom into a very, very tiny area, and then the bird moves, and then you got to try and find the bird again through a very, very tiny area, and that gets very difficult. So you get something with larger lenses, something in this range. This works perfectly. This was recommended to me by a couple of my professors and a few advisors as well, and it works beautifully, and I love this thing. I forget how much I paid for it. It's been probably 4 or 5 years now, and it works wonderfully. I absolutely love this pair of binoculars. But that's not what I started out with. This is what I started out with. Pair of binoculars. It's 10 by 50. This is the older style. And I can't find a brand on it. I can't find a model. It just says China written right there. I got this on a yard sale for $4 or $5. And what's fun about this pair is one of the lenses is crooked, so you get double vision on everything you see. So I just kind of closed my left eye, and but that got me started. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get started. I ended up buying this just because I got tired of seeing double vision, and being in my career teaching about nature, you're going to teach about birds. It's one of the most popular outdoor activities, birding is anyway, and it draws a lot of people. And just about every nature center in America anyway has programs on birds. So I figured I'll get something decent and rock with that for the rest of my life, and stop with the eye strain. But that's what I started out with. Now if you see or hear these birds, you're going to have to record them somehow. Well, I'm jumping ahead. Let me back up. You see a bird you can't identify, so you got to figure out how to identify a bird somehow. If you have done your research beforehand, before hitting the field, and you know these birds, you know their sounds, then you know the answer. If you don't know the answer, that's when you grab a field guide. And I'll do a whole video on field guides, different types, how to use different types of field guides, pros and cons for different types of field guides, and what I recommend versus what didn't work well for me. I'll do all that in another video. But for birding, this is pretty much my go-to Peterson's Field Guide to Birds of Eastern and Central North America. They might have, let me see, this one is, where is it? The letters are faded. Oh heck, what edition is, oh. Yeah, the letter's kind of worn off my cover, but this is the 6th edition. I think they might have a newer edition out now. I'm not sure. I don't know if you could tell, but this got soaking wet one day, and I kind of beat the heck out of it. And you know, this field guide is put up with a lot of wear and tear. So I mean, these are really well made. So I'd recommend this. I like this one a lot, but any field guide for birds would be great for the beginner. And you don't have to go out and buy a brand new field guide. You can go online. You can find used field guides dirt cheap, and a lot of times they'll come in this state. They'll be banged up or bent, or there's some water damage or something like that. You know, so what? If you're starting, you got to start somewhere. This I bought brand new and kind of trashed it. But that's how you identify a bird that you're a little confused about. Now, once you've identified the bird, you need a place to record your observations. So this is the field guide that I use. Or, no it's not. This is the notebook, the field notebook that I use, and it's starting to fall apart. The pages are coming out of it now, and I've almost completely filled this one up, and it's time to buy volume 3 by now. But I'll do a whole video on making observations, or entries for observations, and data collecting and specimen collecting and stuff like that in another video. You don't have to go all out and get a Write in the Rain notebook. I like this because it is waterproof and it's pretty rugged, except for right now the dust cover is kind of coming off. I've used this for a while and I really like it. But that's not what I started with. Yes, it's a spiral bound notebook. That's what I started with. So you don't have to be fancy to start out with this. It's a pretty easy outdoor activity to get into. Pretty darn cheap too if you're not including, or compared to, if you're not including really, really fancy camera or something for photography. And pretty cheap compared to camping or fishing or hunting or hiking. Some of that gear gets expensive. But yeah, I started out with spiral bound notebook. That said, I didn't start out with one of these Write in the Rain pens, which I really like because the ink doesn't bleed all over the place if it gets wet. I started out with good old-fashioned number 2 pencil. And if you need to sharpen in the woods, so what? If you're in the woods, you probably have a knife with you. I would hope so. I always do. Every time I'm in the woods, I always have a pocket knife on me. You just sharpen it. And it was, and the wood is biodegradable, so you don't have to worry about polluting anything with the pencil really. But that's what I started out with. If you're going to go with the spiral bound notebook, then use pencil with it. Never use pen, unless it's a non-bleeding pen like this. Regular pen, when the paper gets wet, the ink will run, and then all of a sudden, there goes your data. It's illegible, and that's just it's just a sad day for everybody. So if you're going with just the basic paper, the basic spiral bound notebook, always use a pencil. Don't bother with a pen. Now, this stuff, depending on how long you're going to be out in the field, I should say, you might take a couple snacks. You're going to carry this stuff to get in, get out quickly, or just make it easier. You might be going into a wetland and you got to go down into a ravine a little bit to get to it. That's a lot of stuff carrying your arms, and you need your arms kind of free to help you down a hill. So I have a field bag. That's the field bag I use. It's just, I forget if I picked this up at Walmart or like Dunham Sports or something, but it was on sale and I didn't spend much on it. So that's what I use. But that's not what I've always used. That's what I started out with. I'm not kidding. I started out with a bag. I put my field gear in the bag. Tie it up, loop it around my belt or something. Yeah, that's where I started. And you could easily, I mean, you could very easily carry everything you need in. Oh, we already got a notebook in there. Field guide. There we go. You could easily carry that. You know, no big deal. So you don't need to go out and spend a fortune to start birding. I will say, when you're learning your bird songs, I've covered this a little bit in other videos, or I don't know what order I'm posting these yet. I'm just filming a bunch of them today. But it always helps to have a picture of that bird in front of you as you're listening to a recording of that bird song. At least it does for me. I got to visualize the bird in order to make the song have some sense to it. So I would recommend learning your bird songs through a website like the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. That's one of my favorites, and I reference that a lot. Or National Audubon Society or something like that. You can get in some places CDs that have different bird songs recorded on there, and it'll say the name of the bird and then play the bird song. I listen to those in the car. Well, you got to do something on your way to work, right? So there's all kinds of different ways to learn that stuff. But as far as the basic equipment, going into the woods to observe birds, that's basically what you need. You might want to do basic survival stuff and bring a water bottle and a cutting device and some cordage, basic survival things. But other than that, you really don't need a ton of stuff. You need I will say you definitely need a strong sense of adventure and curiosity to get you into more interesting places. So, without further ado, that's about all I got. Oh, before I forget, I might have forgotten already. If you like this, hit the like button. If you don't like it, don't hit the like button. If you got a comment, throw a comment down. If you want to see more videos of this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Help me out here. I only got 3 subscribers right now. And hopefully this takes off, maybe. Maybe it won't. I mean, maybe. Who knows? But any help getting started, I would greatly appreciate. Any advice from other people who've been doing YouTube for a long time is always welcome. Open criticism constructive criticism is always welcome. I'm always adapting and finding newer and better ways to do things. That said, if you're going to leave a comment, please don't put any profanity on any of the comments, because this is an educational channel, and I want it to be child friendly as well as viewable for adults. So please keep the language clean, and please be courteous. Other than that, get outside, get yourself some nature.